WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. One person is dead after a log truck and a car collide in southern Lowndes County.
The crash happened on Highway 45 alternate about 2 miles north of Crawford. It was about 1:15 this afternoon. State troopers say it appears the driver of the Nissan Maxima changed lanes in front of the 18-wheeler trying to turn into the median. The big rig hit the driver's side of the vehicle. At least 2 people were airlifted from the scene. Lowndes County Coroner Greg Merchant says the identity of the victim is not being released right now. The driver of the log truck did not appear to be injured. The conditions of the injured have not been released. Both lanes of Highway 45 alternate were closed as crews worked to save the lives of the people inside the car and to land the helicopters. The highway is now back open for traffic.
We first brought you a story yesterday about an alert neighbor possibly ending a Golden Triangle burglary ring. The neighbors saw the suspects on Sierra Court and called police, leading to 5 arrests.
Our Jory Talley joins us live in Columbus with more on why it's important to be an alert neighbor and how neighbors are tackling crime.
Audrey and Joey, when you see these signs in neighborhoods, it means one thing. Neighbors are alert, and they're trying to keep these guys from getting into the area. Many neighborhoods are either already a part of a group like this or are joining them, and the Columbus Police Department say it's making a big difference in crime. A village may help raise a child, but it can also help catch a crook.
You are in control of your own neighborhood watch. The police department does not run your neighborhood watch. You run it. It's up to you to control and take out. Do not let people come into your neighborhood and take over your neighborhood.
Neighborhood watch groups aren't the only option. There's apps, alerts, and websites like this one called Nextdoor. It shows who members are, suspicious activity in the area, and even lost pets.
It's good to know what's going on. If you see something strange, report it. Call 911 and let us know so that we can get out in the neighborhood and catch the burglars and people that don't belong in your neighborhood.
Shalina Henry created a crime watch group after her home was broken into. She did it to make sure she won't fall victim to another break-in and to keep it from happening to her neighbors.
We basically have become more vigilant. A lot more have gotten alarm systems, and we call the police a little bit more than we used to call. You know, we live in a cul-de-sac, and basically it's only one way in, one way out. And if you are on our street, you shouldn't be here.
Even if your subdivision or street doesn't have an organization, it's still important to look out for each other like this resident and his neighbors do.
We all look out for each other, and if there's anyone suspicious, driving slowly, anyone that shouldn't be in the area, we all have our list of names, numbers. We start calling, we start texting.
Sanders says another way to prevent break-ins is to not post anything on social media when you're out of town. She says burglars look out for that and make sure that they can get in when you're not in town. Reporting live in Columbus, Jory Talley, WCBI News. Back to the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Jory. A Winston County woman will be sentenced in October after pleading guilty to FEMA fraud. Emily Curry of Louisville admitted in federal court Thursday she lied about her home being destroyed in the April 2014 tornado. Curry claimed she lived in a Beale Avenue apartment when her primary home was actually somewhere else. She could be ordered to repay the money she received, spend 10 years in prison, and pay $250,000 in fines.
Governor Phil Bryant is requesting a federal disaster declaration for 9 counties after severe weather, tornadoes, and flooding hit Mississippi on April the 30th. Damage assessments confirmed 112 homes in both Holmes and Montgomery counties were either destroyed or sustained major damage and had no insurance. If the president grants the request, additional counties may be added to the declaration pending further damage assessments. It's time for a first look at our forecast. On this Thursday evening, we'll turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Keith?
Well, right now, Andrea, things are looking pretty nice out there. A mix of sun and clouds in Columbus. Currently in Columbus, we are at 81 degrees. That's our Alpha Insurance camera in downtown. Southerly breeze is about 8 miles per hour. This evening, around 80 at 7 o'clock, 74 by 9. And a chance for some storms later on this evening, but for the next couple of hours in Columbus and everywhere else, we're doing okay. You can see these showers and storms lining up back to the west. This will slip in here later tonight. The overall severe weather throughout with this system tonight and tomorrow fairly low, but we'll be watching out for a little bit of strong activity. More in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. The Columbus Exchange Club hosts a second election forum today. Members heard from mayoral candidates. Incumbent Mayor Robert Smith and independent challenger Montrell Colburn both had 10 minutes to speak to the audience. They shared their platforms, future plans, and reasons for residents to vote for them. After both candidates finished, the audience got a chance to ask them some questions.
Two Aberdeen City parks could be seeing a makeover in the near future. It's been 15 years since the parks were renovated. Much of the equipment is old and needs repairing. Asphalt on the basketball courts is also crumbling. Mayor Maurice Howard says parks give young people a safe and fun place to hang out and stay out of trouble. He's currently looking into grants to help with renovation costs.
It is my goal to make sure that we can put as less stress on the constituents and the taxpayers and the city as possible. You know, we want to reach out for grant opportunities. I'm working with Three Rivers and as well as a few other entities that are trying their best to get some grants approved for the city of Aberdeen to kind of help us with the bill.
Howard says he'll need the support from the public and aldermen to make the renovations happen.
A team from the Mississippi Arts Commission makes a visit to Saltillo today. Saltillo Elementary is part of the Whole Schools Initiative. It's a program that integrates arts into all subjects. The Arts Commission oversees the program, and today's visit was part of the review process. The school wants to advance from the whole school status to model status, the highest ranking in the program.
We've been blown away by the students, talking to the students, the feel that you get when you walk in the building. You can feel the arts integration. Everybody is behaving. They seem to be well-mannered, and not that that really has a component in our program, but the flip side of that is that we think the arts makes it easier for you to behave because it's got different ways for you to show who you are and to learn how you need to learn.
Saltillo Elementary will know on July 1st if it has indeed achieved model status.
Administrators and staff at a Louisville school want students to know they have somewhere to turn if they feel like they're being bullied. Island Middle School hosted a special assembly today to talk about the effects of bullying and where to go for help. The students heard a special message from Contact Helpline, a telephone crisis intervention program in Columbus. The organization provides resources to adults and youth who may be having suicidal thoughts.
We are all here and ready to listen to kids, and we try to make the kids feel very comfortable. We try to make sure that they are just comfortable talking to us willingly with no repercussions.
Contact Helpline partners with schools to provide resources for students in crisis situations.
Meanwhile, female students at Tupelo's Milam Elementary are wrapping up a class that taught them principles of leadership. The Milam Girls Leadership Academy held its final session at the Grill at Fair Park in Tupelo. More than 30 students met twice a month for this Leadership Academy. They heard from speakers, took a trip to the state capitol, and for the last session, they learned about manners and social etiquette. Organizers say this program teaches life skills.
Teaching young people about this sort of thing is it's not just about table manners. It's not just about how you hold your fork or what fork you choose. It's about using the skills that you have as far as talking to people and greeting people in interviews, as far as college and jobs and showing up on time.
There are a lot of times when you may have to be interviewed by a scholarship committee or by a teacher, or you want to just sell your case to your parents. There are a lot of these skills that you can use right now.
And that Leadership Academy is paid for with a grant from the Association for Excellence in Education, and it will continue next year. Spring is here, and that means outdoor activities, but watch out, you might be bringing some visitors inside with you.
And not even know it. We find out what you can do about keeping some of those pests away when we come back.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. I'm good. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. This way.
Welcome back. Ticks, ticks, ticks. Those tiny little bugs seem to be popping up everywhere, even on Joy Barnes.
Yep, found one last night on my hand. Experts say they're seeing an increase because of a mild winter this year. Our Quentin Smith joins us live in the studio with more about this sticky problem. Quentin?
Joey, with warm weather here, many homeowners are spending more time in their yards. But while they're outdoors, they should be cautious of ticks trying to latch on to them. I talked with an exterminator to find out some things homeowners can do to keep their yards free from these pesky insects.
This year we're seeing a lot of tick activity, and it's very early. It's generally an issue that comes later in the year.
Richard Lindley is the owner of Northeast Exterminating. He says his crews have been busy this spring spraying pesticides, trying to keep yards free from ticks.
We get probably 3 or 4 calls a day.
The tiny insects are usually found in tall grass, bushes, or hedges.
You don't have to be deep in the woods. You don't have to be out hunting or something like that. You know, out in your yard, you're just as likely to encounter ticks there as well. You don't necessarily have to have pets.
Lindley says tick bites should not be taken lightly.
There are documented cases here in Golden Triangle area of people that have contracted Rocky Mountain spotted tick fever this spring.
With summertime just around the corner, this makes an ideal time for homeowners to be out in their yard. So, to help treat the tiny bugs, Lindley has this advice.
Insect repellent is very helpful. Make sure that it's got a high DEET content. And another thing that is sold over the counter that you can use to treat like your pants if you're going to be out hiking or in the woods is permethrin. And that's available at most local stores over the counter.
And if the insect happens to latch onto you, Lindley suggests not trying to remove the tick right away.
Immediately pulling it off, except for if it had just got on you, then you're going to leave the head embedded. And often that causes a sore or a raised area. Things like putting nail polish remover or fingernail polish generally result in killing the tick, so you're not really helping yourself there. Putting Vaseline over the tick will generally cut off airflow, and they may try to remove themselves to get to where they can breathe, because otherwise they're going to die. But there are also tick removal cards that you can get at drugstores and other general stores.
And if you're going to be out in the yard, Lindley also suggests wearing bright colors and long sleeve clothing.
Big time storms in Oklahoma today. Our own meteorologist Jacob Dickey out on one of those storm cells earlier today near Stillwater. Look at that great shot, some of those mammatus clouds. That system's coming our way. We will have some storms around here tonight and tomorrow. Full forecast is next. 60s tonight. Rain and storms are moving on in, as we just showed you there. And for tomorrow, mid-70s will just about do it for our viewing area. You can see this area of low pressure that will be coming on in here. That will be in and out, and then high pressure comes on in for the weekend, and that's why we're looking pretty good. Here's our 7-day forecast. Upper 70s, partly cloudy to mostly sunny on Saturday, 84 sunny on Mother's Day Sunday, upper 80s to around 90 next week, and we're dry. There's your forecast. More after the break.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Day 2 of the Fast Pitch State Championships from Ridgeland. Moorville was our lone winner from our first day yesterday, but we started off pretty good, day 2, with them blankets. That's the Lady Wave of Tupelo facing Harrison Central, game 1 of their best-of-3 series, 6A state title series, and what a start for the Lady Wave. That's Ivy Watts. Goodbye. A 2-run shot to left. That would give the Lady Wave a 2-0 lead after 1. In the third, Tupelo's up 2-1 now, and Lauren Knight continues to keep things going, keeping things hot at the dish for Tupelo. This one is also gone. That's a solo shot to center. Would extend that Tupelo lead to 3-1, and you thought Lauren Knight was done swinging that hot bat? Nope. 4th inning, 1 on. She puts one back up the box, which will score Gracie Rutherford. Tupelo wins game 1 10-6. They will go for the state title coming up tomorrow night. We'll also have highlights from 2 other games this evening. Hamilton-Boca Chica just went final. The Lady Lions fell in game 2, so the Boca Chica is your state champs in Class 1A. Manatee-Taylorsville about to start game 2. Tatch needs to win to force a game 3. We will have highlights of both these games coming up tonight at 10. To Knoxville we go, the SEC softball tourney featuring Ole Miss and #1 Florida. And what a start for the Rebels. Dylan Stansel putting one down the right field line all the way into the corner, just sort of faded into that corner. Alondra Cox and Kyle Becker is going to score. Ole Miss leads 2-0. By the way, the Rebels failed to score against the Gators in their 3-game series back in April. Were shut out in all 3 games. They wouldn't need any more run support for pitcher Caitlin Lee, who was dealing again on the circle. There was nothing Florida could do. She struck out 4, gave up just 2 hits. Ole Miss wins 2-0, a huge win as they advance to the semifinals to face Alabama, who beat A&M earlier in the day. To baseball now, and 6 games stand between Mississippi State and repeating as SEC champions with a road trip to Georgia ahead for Starkville's Bulldogs. Head coach Andy Cannizzaro continues to stress how his team must never give up even when trailing during games.
Our guys have a tremendous amount of fight in them. I think we have 21 come from behind victories this year, which is incredible, and it just speaks to the resiliency of our club.
It would be fun to, get into the ninth inning and you're up 7 or 8 runs. That would be pretty relaxing. But, usually it's a one-run game, and you look at our closer, Spencer, he's at 13 saves, and that just tells you the type of 1, 2-run, 3-run games we play, and that's fine, man. It gets you prepared for the postseason.
And lastly, Columbus Lady Falcon Kyla Temple signed to continue her basketball career with the EMCC Lions today. Temple will join teammate Brianna Green in Scuba next season. The senior says her hometown support helps her make the big decision on the big day. So congratulations to Kyla. Again, that's the 5th Columbus Lady Falcon that's signed to play basketball at the next level. So Yvonne Harrison's team had some pretty good talent from this past year, and they move on to the next level. Obviously, we got a ton of playoff baseball tonight. We'll obviously talk much more with our state championships and fast pitch, talk a little more about SEC baseball for this weekend coming up tonight at 10. So we got a lot to get to. We'll try to get to all of it.
A lot to talk about.
Busy days in the sports office.
We're used to it by now.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, here's our 7-day forecast. Some showers and storms tomorrow. We're in the 70s. And then the weekend, upper 70s on Saturday. Mother's Day, gorgeous into the mid-80s. And then we're just going to warm it up next week. So there you have it.
So when can we expect the oppressive humidity?
Well, actually, funny you say that. The humidity levels will be inching back up a little bit next week, too.
Yeah.
It's a part of it. So.
It is.
They were up there today.
They're getting higher.
I can feel it. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.